The first person I will be introducing this morning will be our welcome speaker, and that is James Bing Matt. He has been on the Tribal Council for 10 years at the Confederated Salish-Ql tribes, and he is a tribal member or a tribal representative residing in the town of Arlee. Bing.
First of all, it's a big surprise to me. My chairman, he kind of ran off and left me and asked me, told me, he says, Bing, he says, you're on the Intertribal Timber Council. Would you mind doing my welcome speech for me? And wow, that didn't. And as much as I talk, it's going to be, I told him, it'd be kind of tough. I said, but I'll give it a try. So I am going to give it a try here. And like I said, I was asked to do a welcome address to the Intertribal Timber Council and other agencies for coming to visit our home and the surrounding areas. Our chairman, Mike Dolson, extends his apologies for not being able to be here to meet and greet you. Mike is attending meetings in Washington, D.C. this week. He thanks you for coming to visit the bison range, which along with the largest lake west of the Mississippi, Flathead Lake. Bison range now, it belongs to, she said, is that, you know, we own it now. Bison range is ours, you know, so it was a great asset for us to have. As you probably already heard and seeing some of the 1.3 million acres or 1,938 square miles of our homeland, we have about 6,000 or nearly 8,000 members currently live here on or near the Flathead Reservation. There's also about 1,100 other Native American tribes that live here too. When I first joined the ITC board some 10 years ago, I met a lot of very intelligent men who knew all the ins and outs about forestry, fires, and restoration of land that they care so much about. On our reservation, we have the Mission Mountains that divides a federal wilderness from the CSKT wilderness. We are surrounded by the National Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, and state lands. And in the closing, I want to say what our elders once said. We're most humble, young brother. In all creation, we don't have direct communication with the Creator the way the spirits do. So how could we assume we could own something that's so much older than we are? I want to thank those that helped contribute to the symposium here. Eagle Bank, Environmental Defense Fund, Doris Duke Foundation, S&K Gaming, First Nations Development Institute, the Wilderness Society, and the Séliš-Ql College for the contributions for the symposium. This is the 48th symposium, annual symposium, and I've been to 10 of them. And I've been all over the United States to these. And they get bigger every year. Last year I was over in North Carolina, I believe, something like 400 and some odd people there. And you just can't believe the input that we receive back from those that don't really know a lot about the Intertribal Timber Council. These guys really know their business, I'll tell you. Like I stated, you know, it's a blessing for me to be able to be with these people. I don't know how much longer I'll be with them, but you know, it's been a blessing for me to be part of them. they really know a lot about, like say, the forest, fires, everything. And they really care about it. They care about you people that of the tribes that have forests, that have lands. They really care a lot about it. You know, it's a blessing, I think, to have these individuals running these forests and whatnot for you. I really appreciate them. I do a lot. Like I said, I've been on the board now for 10 years. And I've learned a lot from these guys. Like I told Whisper and Sadie here. I learned from an old man, one of our elders. Sit there and listen about what's going on. Don't say a lot. And you hear what all that took place, what's going on around the valley. And we had our water rights going on, compact dealing at that time, and he was always at these meetings. He wouldn't say a word all the way through the meeting. And then at the end of the meeting, he would get up and he would talk to the people. Some of the people would get up and kind of leave, why don't want to leave. He'd tell them, hey, I sit here all day. I'm an elder. I sit here all day listening to what you had to say. Now, sit down and listen to me. And that's what I've been doing too. I when at work, I listen a lot what's going on with our tribe. And I don't say too much. But when there's something that does bother me, I do get up and have to say things about what it is that bothers me. You know, the other 10, another 9 individuals on the council, some of them have been there, and I think Carol's been there for 20-some years on the council. Tom McDonald's been within the tribe and serving on council now for his first term, but you know, some people know a lot about our tribe, you know, and it's something to sit there and listen to them and hear their direction of the way that we should do things. When we took over the bison range, we hired this young lady here to run it, and she's doing one heck of a job doing it. You know, and that's a big accomplishment for the tribe, for taking over that bison range. It's something that we always wanted, but we didn't know if we'd ever get it. But finally, was able to take control of it, and they're doing one heck of a job running it for us. As you'll see tomorrow, Wednesday, when you go up on the trip. I don't know whether they're going to take you to Flathead Lake or not, but it would be nice if you guys seen that if you haven't seen it before. Like I stated, that's the largest freshwater lake west of the Mississippi. And it's a beautiful lake, beautiful lake. And I hope that you're able to, they take you up there just to take a quick glance at it. Tribe took over the dam, I think probably about, 14 years ago that we took it over. And we run the dam now, up there on the lake up there. Sell electricity. They do a heck of a job with that too. Heck of a job. A lot of things that they got to know about taking over electricity. A lot of people thought the tribe couldn't do it, but we have people up there that are really knowledgeable about what their jobs are. And then, you know, it's just the idea of being able to show people that we are capable of doing things like this. You know, and I just want to thank you all for coming here. Like Stephen said, look out there and see all these faces out there. It scares the crap out of you, you know. And I just really appreciate you guys coming to visit our home here. I really do. I really do. A lot of people always ask me about Montana. It's hard to tell them about Montana because it's so big. It's a big state, you know, and our home where we live is a beautiful place. We have the mountains surrounding us, all around our reservation up there. We have the mountains surround us, timber all over. And this man right here is in charge of our timber forestry department. And he's doing one heck of a job. The man down next to him, he had it. Now he's in there works with the tribe now for us. And he's doing a heck of a job. This man over here, he's a preservation. He finds a lot of different things that they go out and search for, and they find scarred trees, everything like that. You know, and it's good that we have people that know all of this history and whatnot of the tribe. This young lady over here, Sadie, she's our director for our elders for the Sélish. She's doing one heck of a job. We lost our elder there here a few years ago, Tony Inkashola, young Tony's dad. We lost him here a few years ago, and it was a big loss for the people in the tribe. But, you know, it's just an idea of those that, you know, we think about, and especially of our losses. We've had, every powwow we have a memorial for the people that we lost. Every year it's over 100 people, and that we've had for the last 4 or 5 years, there's been over 100 people a year that we have a memorial for. That's a lot of members that we lost, and we're not getting that many newborns back to replace them. We had around 8,000. Now, like I said, I think we're down to 7,800 or 7,700, something like that now. But it's just the loss of these people that we lose every year, and it's sad to see all these people that are leaving us. And they're not all elders. There are a lot of our younger people too that we're losing. Well, you know, I said, Laura told me I just needed to say a short speech. So I think I went over a little longer in my short speech. So I'll get out of here. And again, I want to thank everybody for coming and visiting our home. And I hope you enjoy the next few days that you're here. Also want to thank Steve Salmon for the prayer that he offered this morning. Séliš. Will you give this to Steve, one of these microphones to Steve? He don't like to get off of it, but he does a wonderful job for us all the time when asked. Jim and his drum over there, you know, they're all young kids, and they're doing an excellent job of drumming. Jim's doing a real good job with them. And I thank him for being here to do the honor song and flag song for us. You know, and I just want to thank everybody. Again, thank you for all being here, and enjoy your stay.
Thank you, Bing. Next, we're going to have Sadie Peone-Stops. She's the director of the Séliš-Ql Culture Committee. Her previous to that appointment, she worked in the historical collections. She lives in St. Ignatius with her husband and her 2 children. Sadie.
Lem Whisper. Husquext Pesia, thus good morning in our language. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sadie Peone-Stops. My Salish name is Séliš-Ql, and I have the privilege and honor of serving as the director of the Séliš-Ql Culture Committee. I'm new in my position, but I've had also the privilege and honor to work alongside our Elders Advisory Council and our staff for over 20 years. And I welcome you all to this place in the heart of our homeland, Intla'ai, which translates to this place of small bull trout. This has always been the name for this area now occupied by the city of Missoula. Back in 2019, my predecessor, being mentioned, Antone Inkashola Sr., served for the director of the Culture Committee for 27 years and put in 47 years of time with that office. He spoke at a meeting at the CSKT Climate Change Advisory Council, and he reminded us that at the beginning of time, the animals that were here before us left a near-perfect world. And the elders always say that if you don't take care of what you have, those gifts are going to leave. And that's something that always has resonated with me, and it's always something also that Tony and our other elders continue to instill in us, that we must never forget how the plants and animals gave themselves to be food and medicine for us humans. And we must do our utmost to honor those relationships and respect with all we have been given. This perspective, this fundamental ethic of gratitude and respect, has always stood at the heart of our way of life. And for the past half century, it has formed the foundation of CSKT efforts and achievements in both cultural and environmental protection and restoration. In forestry and many other tribal operations, we've tried to find ways to continue, just as we've always been told. And wherever possible, to revitalize the principles and ways of being in this world that have stood at the heart of our cultures for thousands of years. We've been able to do this in part of the existence of the culture committees and elders advisory councils, which were established by CSKT Tribal Council 50 years ago this year. In forest management and in so many other areas, our elders have given us the vision and the understanding and the path of wisdom. And they have enlisted our amazing staff. As Councilman just mentioned, we have an amazing staff and so many highly skilled and highly trained, dedicated, accomplished people to bring the vision of the elders into reality. And they have worked tirelessly and carefully and creatively to make that happen. We hope that in this brief time with us, that you have with us, you will see how this structure, this teamwork, our way of melding culture and science has resulted in a good path forward. A way that enables us, that enables our nation to set cultural boundaries around our engagement with the dominant society. And to do what we can to support our people. And otherwise, while also honoring our obligation and responsibility to care for the plants, the animals, the lands, and the waters. 25 years ago, that approach led to our tribal council adopting a new forest management plan. That plan, which is now in the process of being updated, shifted our long-term goals of commodity production to the restoration of former forest landscapes, including reestablishing the 1850 fire practices through active prescribed fire programs. That was a big change, excuse me, from how our forests had been managed or mismanaged over the preceding century or more. After the non-Indian invasion of our homelands and the upending of our way of life, the newcomers saw our forests not as trees but as timber, as lumber, as money, and they sawed down and sold most of our old, beautiful, old-growth timber-like parks that for thousands of years had defined the lower elevation valleys in this region when they were under the care of our people and our traditional way of life. In 1855, the Treaty of Hellgate conveyed to the United States title so many millions of acres of our lands, but the treaty also provided a legal basis for our continued sovereignty as an indigenous nation. Although that undermined the Flathead Allotment Act of 1904, we continued to resist as we do today. And with Congress's passage for our better laws, during the 20th century, we gained the opportunity to recover and rebuild. In the 1970s, as I mentioned, the Tribal Council took a visionary step of establishing culture committees and the Elders Cultural Advisory Councils, which helped return our cultural values to the heart of CSKT operations. Perhaps the most basic point I can offer today is this. For us, natural resources are cultural resources, and there is no different in between. And that's been stated and restated to us over and over and continues to be with our Elders Advisory Council today. As we work to carry that perspective into action in our work with forests, both on and off the reservation, we realize every day that's a race against time. We now only have a small number of elders who still grew up with the Salish as their first language. We are seeing so much of what we love imperiled by the climate crisis and the dismantling of so many of the laws and regulations that have protected our resources. But we will continue on this beautiful path forward that the elders have shown us, and we will continue out of our love of our way of life, out of the love for our homelands, our waters, plants, and animals, and most of all, our love for our generations to come. We all have that duty and responsibility to care for this land just as our elders did, to ensure that our future have something. Lemlunch Pesia, I want to say thank you to all of our amazing staff, as I said, for putting this day together for you all. And as our councilman said, I hope you enjoy your time here at Untitled and on the tour tomorrow when you have the ability to visit some of our reservation. Lemlunch.
Lamlamsh Sadie. And I want to say that I did take time to try to learn how to say everybody's name at different tribes. So if I totally get it wrong, please correct me when you get to the podium, but I'm trying. Next we have Cody Desautel, who has served as the Executive Director of the Confederated Tribes of the Colville Reservation since 2022, and the President of the Intertribal Timber Council since 2020. Prior to that, he worked for the tribes as the Natural Resource Director, Forest Engineer, Forester, and Fuels Planner, and for the BIA as a Natural Resource Officer, Soil Conservationist, and Inventory Forester. Cody has a bachelor's degree in Environmental Science from Haskell University.
So, spoiler alert, she said she didn't know how to say names before my name. Yeah, she didn't get it right. So my name is Cody Desautel. I'm the Executive Director for the Colville Tribe in North Central Washington State. And just like to welcome everybody here this morning. Looking forward to this week. Mission Valley is one of the prettiest places I've ever been in the country, and really looking forward to the tour on Wednesday. But before we get started for the week, I want to call out where are they at. Monica Laura Howard, are you in the room? No? Oh. Well, if you see them, there's a ton of work that goes into putting one of these together, and a lot of things happening behind the scenes that make it seem really seamless while we're standing up here on the stage. So please, as you run across them through the week, take the opportunity to thank them and tell them what a good job they've done. Also want to take advantage of the opportunity to thank the folks from Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes for the opening they gave us. Great context setting. Great opportunity to see some of their language, some of their culture, and really give us a foundation for what we're going to talk about this week. There's just so many good examples in Indian country of great management, not just on tribal lands, but on adjacent federal lands. And Séliš-Ql is doing it as good as anybody in the country. So what we will see this week will be a great example of things that can be done in other parts of the country. And I know it's really a unique time in this country's history that you think about all the changes going on in the federal government, but if you think in context of what we typically see, almost every president administration we've had in the past has been 8 years and then a transition. But if you look at the last 3 elections, we've had 3 consecutive changes, so that's really unheard of in U.S. history. So the change we're seeing is unprecedented, but it makes it challenging for people on the ground to try to implement different changes in administration, as we've seen it go back and forth between Democrats and Republicans. But with that change, I think there's opportunity. When we look at the secretaries that oversee many of the resources we're responsible for managing, many of them do have strong interests in how we do a good job. I mean, the American people want to see proper management and those wild places that they've always experienced and hold dear to their hearts. And I've been back to D.C. to testify 4 times this year already, so I don't know that I've ever seen a point in my career where Congress has had as much interest in Indian country successes in natural resource management as I had now. And I was talking to our lobbyists when we were back just a couple weeks ago for the last hearing, but I think probably in the last 3-ish years I've been back 15 times. So again, a ton of interest from Congress in how we do business, how we work with partners, whether that's state and federal agencies, whether that's NGOs and others. But I want to look at this as an opportunity. While there is change, there's some perspectives about the federal government and its size and its capacity, but with a reduction in federal workforce, that means they're going to need to lean on partners even harder to accomplish the goals they've set out for this administration. So although this has been challenging and there's a lot of unknowns that we're going into for the next 4-ish years, it seems like it's been a really busy start to the year. It seems like we've been under this administration for like 2 years already, right? Is that the way everybody else feels? And then you look at the calendar, it's been like 4.5 months. So again, hopefully we'll get to a point where things kind of settle in. We'll get their priorities in place, and we'll see where those opportunities exist. There's 2 or 3 pieces of tribal legislation that are moving through Congress right now. But again, giving us authorities that we've not had in the past, recognizing the success that's happened in Indian country and looking at ways to duplicate that on other federal lands. So take advantage of an opportunity to talk with all the folks we've got here. I know when we looked at the demographics for the last symposium, we probably had as diverse a group as I've seen at one of these. Typically, when I first started coming to these things, it was just a bunch of tribes sitting in the room and some of the BIA folks. Now we've got representatives from a bunch of federal agencies. We've got a bunch of folks from NGOs, state agencies that attend this. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to form relationships, to build partnerships that can really go a long ways in accomplishing your resource management goals at home. And not just on reservation, but on that adjacent federal and state land where, I mean, the reality is all of it was Indian country if you go back 500 years. And for a lot of tribes, particularly if you have small reservations, those places that are important to you aren't necessarily on your jurisdiction. So you've got to find ways to work across those boundaries with your partners to achieve those management goals. So take advantage to say hi to people that may be from your neighboring forest, your neighboring state departments, NGOs that might be able to help with some capacity. And again, start those friendships, start those relationships so we can do that work once we walk away from this symposium with some good examples on how we achieve those goals back home. And look forward to seeing everybody throughout the week. Thank you.